Great.
Okay, so we're doing a half leg wax here. I've got my gloves on. I am going to prep the client's legs, both at the same time, front and back. Make sure you don't get too much prep. Okay, this is just to remove any oils or moisture on the skin. And it also gets all the hairs standing up, and if any of them are stuck to the skin, it just frees them up. Because if they're stuck to the skin, they're not going to get pulled up by the wax. Just if you can see close up there, those are a good length. You don't want them to be any shorter than that, and there are a few little ones that are too short, and I'm going to tell my client right from the start that I think they, in about a week's time, they'll be ready to wax out. We will get a smooth finish, but not as smooth as you would if the hairs were all a little bit longer. Okay, so we've done the prep. Now we're going to talc. You don't need a lot of talc. You don't really want to see the talc on the skin. It's just to dry and absorb any excess moisture, but you don't want to have a layer of talc on the skin. Okay, so that's the legs prepped, and we're ready to go. Now, if you visually divide the leg into 3 sections, okay, we have from the shin bone around as far as we can go, section 1, roll the foot out, from the shin bone around as far as we can go is section 2, all down here, and then you just have a small narrow patch on the back. Okay, remember to roll the foot and get around both sides as far as you can go. So I'm going to draw on this leg, just so you can have a visual. Okay, so that's the middle. Now, if I roll the client's foot around, I can pretty much get all the way around there. Okay, so that's going to be section 1, and we're going to apply the wax down in the direction of your breath. Okay, so I'm going to remove all of that, starting from, our half leg wax is pretty much just above the knee. Okay, so while that leg is nice and flat, I'm going to, if we do the half leg up to there, all of this is section 1. Okay, all the way up there. Section 2. And the same again. There are 2 different ways of doing this. You can, when you do the knee, you bend the leg up. You can do the sides of the knee up here, but the skin is much looser, so it's better when it's nice and tight. Okay. So I'm going to test the wax on ourselves first, and we want to apply it in a nice thin strip. Okay, so we're going to roll that foot out, and we're going to stretch the skin up. And apply. So you want to work quite quickly because you do not want that wax to start really setting on the skin. See how it's quite hard to pull down? If you pull that skin up, it glides on much easier. So always make sure you pull. Don't go over where you've already been, because you want to have that wax really thin. Where you can visually see the hairs stop, just come down about 1 inch or so, because you will have little fine hairs that you might miss otherwise. And when your client goes home and they sit in the sun, they will notice. Okay, so starting from the bottom, pulling that skin nice and tight, and as you go, just removing all of that residue, so you're not putting your hands into sticky wax residue. Okay, another way to do it is to come from here, hold your wax strip, okay, place it on, 1, 2, nice firm strokes, so your left hand is actually pressing the wax down and then coming around and pulling, so this hand doesn't actually let go of the strip, and you can get quite fast if you're doing it this way. This is the way I prefer to do it, but there are other ways you can do it, like from the bottom of the bed. Okay, so as you finished that section, just go back over, make sure you keep all the residue off. You can fold your strip in half and just use the back of it to remove any residue. Okay, then you're going to get the client to roll her top out that way, and we're going to start up here. Remember pulling that skin nice and tight and applying that wax. Remember, don't double dip the spatulas, get a fresh one every time. You can also put tissue around the end of the spatula like this in little strips. Wrap that around and then use the other end. So when you're reapplying the next patch, don't go over the patch you've just done, because then all you're going to do is thicken it up, and the whole point of the strip wax is getting it as thin as you possibly can. So wipe it on the skin first. Okay, so that's that whole section done. Okay, I'm going to, again, either remove this way with one hand stretching the skin and the other hand rubbing and ripping, or turn around and have your left hand do the rubbing and the stretching. I find this way faster because you're not actually having to let go of the strip at all. And so you don't need to rub and rub and rub. If you've got nice firm pressure, a couple of rubs covering the whole of the strip should be enough. Okay, so we've pretty much done the whole of the front leg now. Right around, we've come all the way around. I'm just going to get my client to bring her knee up now. So we've done the side, so now all you've got to do is the top. Make sure we cover it all. And again, make sure your client is quite bent. If they're bending their leg well, and that'll really help to stretch that skin. Okay, and again. See, I'm rubbing and then coming down and pulling, making sure that skin's tight. But because the knee's bent, it's naturally stretched anyway. A lot of times, you can get this here. See where the wax is stuck? I'm not sure if you can see that on video. That's because the wax is starting to build up and it's a cold area. Okay? If that happens, you can just keep rubbing it to warm it up and it should come off. But if it doesn't, I found if you actually go back the other way for some reason and pull it with the direction of hair growth, it seems to get it off. Okay, so going over the whole front of the leg. Now we're going to roll the client over now. Two things that you need to do. First of all, if I just roll her over now, she's going to, even though I have removed that residue, there's still a bit of sticky. So I'm just going to get a bit of oil, aftercare oil, and just go down the front. Okay, just over the knee. I'm not going to go around the sides because we're still waxing there. I don't want to get any oil anywhere near the back of the leg. Okay, so that's just enough that when she lies over and puts her knee on that paper, not going to stick. Okay, so we're going to lift the lever, put the bed down. Don't forget to put the bed down before you ask your client to roll over, because if the chair's sitting up, it's very hard for them to lie on their tummy. So Dom, I'm just going to lift this towel here and ask you to roll over onto your tummy. Okay. And put that foot down like that. I'm just going to ask your client to pop up onto her toes because it helps to stretch that skin nicely. So you can see here, because we folded the leg around, or bent the leg around, we've actually waxed all the way up to there. And then on this side we've come right up to here. So we've really only got that bit there. Now on the back of the legs, the hairs always grow in a diagonal that way. So we're going to apply the wax like so. Following the direction of hair. Okay, stretch the skin. Remember not to go over the area that you've done. And if you actually tilt the spatula forward, it can go on a bit thicker. So I like to not do it. Oh, apply it, have it all off the spatula. If you tilt the spatula back, I don't know if you can see that on video, but it goes on a heap thinner. Okay. If it's too thick, sometimes it doesn't actually get. I'm just touching up any little areas I can see there's still stray hairs. Okay, and because the hairs are growing diagonal, I'm just going to clear the ankle area so I can get a good grip, and then I'm going to come around and stand here. Okay, do you want to come and have a look at that? This is what I was talking about, how it builds up. I'm not sure if you can see that. But the wax has actually come off the strip, and it's probably about 4 or 5 strips build up there. So come back over, warm it up. Oh, that came off. So if it doesn't come off, just go back that way. For some reason it works, I don't know why. Okay, pull that skin really nice and tight. There it is again, it's done it. On colder areas, it will have a tendency to do that more. And because the lower leg is the furthest from the heart, it is going to be a lot colder, especially down near the ankles. Okay. Now when we do hot waxing, you can actually oil the area and then go back over it. It doesn't work for strip waxing. Okay, so you're going to make sure you have got every hair that you want to wax off before you put the oil on. There, I can see a few little strays, but I'm just going to tweeze those out. There's nothing that needs to be re-waxed over. Okay, so I'm going to put the oil in my hands. Remember, I've already oiled the front. Make sure the oil actually gets the rest of that pencil off the leg. Okay, and then you're going to get your compress towel, your nice hot compress towel, and put it over the whole leg. Okay, done.